Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa's look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Good, receive our prayers and also our heart. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Light, at the feet of Jesus Christ. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Good, pray our prayers and also our heart. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Light, place our pains at the feet of Jesus Christ. Source of love that radiates, warming up our cold nights, support and comfort, support and comfort, cascades flowing down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their hearts, with love in their hearts. My soul never loses hope, because your love always teaches me the solution lies in hard work. The solution lies in hard work. Oh, my mother Zephyrina, harvest of wonderful blessings, make your small son a good Christian. Make your small son a good Christian. Oh, Jesus, here I am, my knees on the floor, to say thank you, my Lord, for the lights that come through this door. Your love is the key to change the entire world. using these chains wisely. We will live in peace and harmony. Now I understand, helping others is helping myself. Your words now are so crystal clear. Your teachings have no frontiers. To see how this transformation, we just have to put love in action.
Wherever you are, glowing seeds of love, as our Master Jesus taught. You will see that behind every sight there's a flame shining bright, tiny spark created by God. I will follow your path, Father, 'cause nobody is alone in life, and the scars of my destiny will be healed by your love. Disseminate wherever you are, glowing seeds of love, as our Master Jesus taught. As our Master Jesus taught.
Another day, another flower, another minute past the hour. Someday the sky is blue, and suddenly we can't see through. And every day is a fresh new start, when the sun turns off the moonlight. We get another chance to choose the On the other side of the mountain, there's always a whole new road. The new beginning calling after every end. There are a million reasons to pick you up after every fall. It's always a win in the new round. On the other side of the mountain, there's always a whole new road. And the new beginning calling after every end. And there are a million reasons to pick you up after every fall. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round. It's always a win in the new round.
When I go in to pray, I look for my good Jesus. And when I close my eyes, I can feel all His light. I open my heart for all He has to say. He shows me the best way I can enjoy my life. Jesus, Jesus, they never we apart. Please bring all your light to shine inside my heart. Jesus, Jesus, I can be content. I have your endless love and your protecting hand.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our public meeting. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. Before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask that you turn off your phone notifications and find a quiet place during this time if possible. Our meeting will have a 30 minutes presentation followed by a Q&A. Following the presentation, we will also have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So we invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. And now we have a special invitation for those who want to learn more about Spiritism. Get to Know Spiritism is an online and free course that happens every Saturday at 5:15 p.m. East. The next class will be on this Saturday, April 23rd, and the theme will be Obsession. What an amazing and interesting topic. So if you are interested in joining, please use the link that will be posted in the chat to register for this class. We would also like to invite everyone to follow us in our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube from Spiritism Canada and Spiritist group Paths of Life. And now we will get started with an initial prayer followed by some other announcements. I invite everyone to join me in this prayer. So let's close our eyes, calm our hearts, and mentalize our Master Jesus and all the friendly spirits that are here tonight with us. Thank you, Jesus, for the opportunity to be here tonight, to learn about your teachings in the Spiritist view. We would like to ask for your protection for all the work that will be done tonight, and we trust that you will be with us today and always. So be it. So the topic of today's meeting will be the Promised Consoler, which is item 3 and 4 from chapter 6, the Consoling Christ. And it will be facilitated by our brother, Rodrigo Villar from Winnipeg. We also would like to announce that our public meeting is now being retransmitted today at the same time by Continental Concafras Americas through their Facebook. And we also be retransmitted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. by Kardec Radio through their Facebook as well. So everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and then we will address at the end of the talk all the questions. And now I would like to invite tonight's speaker. Welcome, Rodrigo.
Hello, Larissa. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How about yourself? How is Winnipeg today?
So not that bad. It's snow coming at 8 p.m.
Wow.
So, and 9 p.m. in your time. So, but we're used to that. We are Winnipeggers. Winnipeggers love the cold.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, to having me here again to talk about a quite interesting topic. So today, as Larissa mentioned before, I will be talking about the Promised Consoler. And you can find these passages in the chapter 6, the Consoling Christ, items 3 and 4, in the Gospel according to Spiritism. I would like to invite you to join me in this reflection. Items 3 and 4 are related to a passage of the Bible that describe this scenario. This is the Last Supper, where Jesus are talking to his disciples, and I want to bring a conversation between Jesus and the apostles in the Last Supper when he described the following. And this can be found in John 14, 15 to 17. And I want you to pay attention because Jesus always gives us a clue what he is trying to teach us, but he could not really tell us all the truth that he knew that time because humanity wasn't prepared for all the truth. So what I want to invite you today is to reflect on Jesus' words and try to find interpretation using Kardec and the spirits to guide us in the meaning behind. And then Jesus stated in the Last Supper, "If you love me, keep my command." So keep my commands is the commandments. And remember that Jesus was very clear. We have the 10 commandments that comes from Moses. And then in an interaction with the Pharisees, if I'm not mistaken, they asked Jesus what's the most important commandments, and Jesus said, love God above all and your neighbors as yourself. So just to keep in mind, and to keep in mind everything that Jesus said is always bring us back to console us and help us and love. And I want us to try to dig this meaning behind the Jesus words. And I will ask the Father, and he'll give you another advocate. So Jesus is the first advocate. And what Jesus is advocating? So the laws of God. And what's the laws of God? The laws of nature and the law of love. And Jesus here already promising that I'm going to bring someone else. And the question becomes, is someone else or something else? That's not clear here. He's another advocate to help you. So Jesus knew that we will need help as humankind and be with you forever. And here's another clue: forever. If you think about someone, forever, it seems to be a quite long time. And he complements the spirit of truth. And what truth we are talking about here? What is the spirit of truth is all about? And you can ask yourself, well, why Jesus didn't tell everyone that time what this is all about? And he complements here. The world cannot accept him because it neither sees him nor knows him. So Jesus could not introduce something that time that people don't have any clue what it is, what it's all about. And it'll be very complicated to teach such immature souls, spirits, to comprehend very advanced knowledge, very advanced moral teachings. But you know him, for he lives with you and will be in you. And now here Jesus is pointed out that deep inside we know the spirit of truth, and it's not from outside, it's from inside. And that's quite profound because Jesus is teaching that time that we should learn how to look ourselves from inside out, not from the outside. And he complements, and this is just a sentence of Jesus that time, and we can admire his teachings and knowledge because there are so many things that we can extract from here. And then Jesus continues, but the advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things. And this is another clue here. Teach you all things. What that really means, that Jesus could not teach everything he knew that time. Otherwise, there is no need for somewhere else to come or something else to come to complete Jesus' teachings. So Jesus gives us here a lot of clues that something would happen in the future where all the teachings will be revealed to humankind. And he continues and will remind you. So if it's a remind, it means that we already know of everything I have said to you. Basically, Jesus is stating that this consoler, the promised consoler, will bring back to Jesus' teachings. And why he's saying that? And that's quite interesting. Jesus knew us a lot, and he knew that his teachings will be misunderstood and will be changed according to our needs. A lot of history passed and proved that he was right. Unfortunately, the purity of this teaching changed according to political power, our own ignorance, changed the meaning. And then this brings a lot of misconception, even destruction and separation between us. When we look at this, I would like to try to dig deeper on that analysis of John. So we saw this passage can be found in John 14 and 26. You can also find information about this passage on the Spirit's book and as well Genesis. And then there, Kardec started to develop the idea to try to understand the meaning behind what Jesus was trying to say to the disciples. Jesus promised another consoler, and we know that Jesus was the first consoler. He came to teach people moral attributes that help people to survive, to help people feel love and hope. Because remember, Jesus came for those who suffer. He said, I come from the sick, I come from the will, those that suffer. And Jesus came from those ones, those that are in need. And he promised the spirit of truth. And that is still a question mark. So is someone, is something, what is that? Whom the world does not yet know because it's not mature enough to understand. And now it's clear that Jesus, again, as I mentioned before, could not tell everything because humankind was not prepared to listen. And he needs to teach through parables to make more accessible for everyone and also over time. And who the Father will send to teach all things and bring to remembrance, Christ has said. So in this here, Kardec is restating Jesus and to show there are a lot of elements here that show that Jesus knew exactly what would happen with his teachings over time. And then Kardec continues exploring the analysis. Therefore, if the Spirit of Truth comes later to teach all things, what's the logical conclusion? Is because Christ has not said everything. He could not tell everything he knew and all the truth of the spiritual world and how the universe really operates, because how could you teach high advanced knowledge to such a childish souls and spirits? And we still not that far. So 2000 years later, we still that child inside us. We still not mature yet. That's why we keep struggling to try to understand what Jesus' teachings, what he tried to bring to us. If the spirits come to bring a remembrance, if we need to remind about Jesus' teachings, it's because he has forgotten. And we can see this clearly nowadays that we are moving far and far from moral, far from Jesus' teachings. Although we advanced a lot in terms of technology and intelligence, now we are in the era that we are more prepared to come back and start to reinterpret the story in a more mature way, that we really can start analyzing Jesus saying in a way, in a better way, in a much depth. And Jesus state, and as well Kardec, the teachings will be forgotten or poorly understood. And we have many examples how, for example, certain religious beliefs did many things in the name of Jesus and God, even war, to try to convince people by force that they don't have an option, or they believe on what they want, or they will be killed. And you see many other things that happen, and Jesus knew that, and already that time give us an advice. And then you probably ask yourself, well, Rodrigo, wait a minute, promise consoler, can you elaborate on that? And this is what I'm going to try to do using Kardec and the spirits to guide our reflection. Remember that Spiritism has come at a stated time to fulfill Christ's promise. Now we start to understand that maybe the consoler, the one that Jesus promised, is not someone. There are some religious beliefs that a belief that it's someone, is a person, like Jesus was the first one. However, Spiritism come to fulfill those promises of Jesus from the past. The Spirit of Truth presides over its establishment. It calls humans to observe the law and teaches all things by enabling them to understand what Christ said only in parables. And then when you say Spiritism, we are talking about Allan Kardec, that was the codifier, and the Pentateuch. So the 5 books that Kardec published with all the spiritual knowledge that comes from the Spirit of Truth that guide this work, and all the high spirits that helps to make this reality. So for us Spiritists, is not about who, is about what it is. So when we come back and we analyze, Christ said, let those hear who have ears to hear. Those moral teachings is done since the humankind exists on earth. However, not every one of us are ready to listen and to understand. And that's what Jesus is trying to say here. So if you can hear, if you have the ears to hear, and then you're going to figure this out and you're going to understand the meaning. Spiritism has come to open our eyes and ears because it speaks without figures and allegories. Spiritism comes to make an interpretation about Jesus' moral teachings, explaining those figures and allegories that Jesus need to use to be able to explain to those people that time, in that context, in that culture. It lifts the veil, intentionally let over certain mysteries. So in the past, there are so many mysteries because people do not understand. How is that possible? And then we create a word called miracles. So that's how we understand miracles. Miracles is everything that we don't have explanation for and looks like marvelous. So it's something beyond our understanding. However, nowadays, as we progress in intelligence and knowledge and spirituality, we start to figure out that miracles, all of them has a reasonable explanation. And then it has come finally, Spiritism come to bring supreme consolation. Because that's what Jesus promised, right? He promised that it will bring the consoler, that we're going to bring understanding. Because as more we understand, more we are aware, more comfort we feel, because we start to understand and things start to making sense. And he explained here to bring the supreme consolation to the disinherited of the earth, that us, and all those who suffer. And he knew that we will suffer because he understood the choice that we made, attributing a just cause and useful purpose to all pain. So if we change now the interpretation, why we suffer and what's the cause of the pain, and you're going to figure out that probably there are two reasons so we suffer. One, because we choose, because we make not a good choice and we have the consequences. Or if I didn't do anything, nothing to deserve, the only explanation is probably in the past lives. So it's something before that, the reasonable explanation to explain. And then you find it justice, because if I did something wrong in the past, then I will say, no, that's fair that I have to do this. I have to fix the problem. That's when we elevate our moral. So we feel the responsibility and we do the best we can to fix and make less mistakes. Also, Jesus said, blessed are the afflicted, for they shall be comforted. And the question that I ask you, but how can we bless suffering if we do not know why we suffer? And that's a very fair question. Why do we suffer? And the problem is, now imagine if you have a belief system that you believe there is just one life. And if you don't do the right things, you go to hell for eternity. How are you going to understand this? How can you going to feel blessed if you are suffering and you are in pain? What you say for those parents that lost a child that died by suicide or died in a young age, and they have the idea that they're never going to see their loved ones ever again? How fair is that? How could you call God just? How can you say that God loves us? And that's where something is out of place. And we need to reflect, because if God is just and love us above our comprehension, something is not in the place. And that's why Spiritism is so important. Because it comes to clarify, to make us to understand that yes, suffering sometimes a blessing, because it helps us. Spiritism shows the cause lies in previous existence, if you didn't do anything wrong in this one, and in the destiny of the earth. So we know, studying Spiritism, that we are in the planet of trials and expiation. So the evil still exists between us, and we can see them every day. You just need to turn on your TV and watch news, or go to the internet. You're going to see a lot of them, where humans expiate their past. So what that means, if I did something wrong in the past, I have another opportunity through reincarnation to make a right choice this time. And this shows how merciful is God and how justice is done. Nobody can escape from the law. And that's what us understand, that we don't need to worry about. That justice doesn't belong to us, because we don't understand everything. If something happened, there is a reason. It shows them the purpose of of our suffering as being salutary crises that leads to healing, and which are the purification that ensures happiness in future existences. Can you imagine if you have this mindset? So Spiritism help us to understand this, accept, be resilient, perseverant, and have patience, because what matters is not only right now. This is just one life of many. That's just what 75, 80 years of eternity. So then we start to gain more perspective. Humans understand they deserve to suffer if they did something wrong, and they find suffering to be just. So then you stop complaining because you accept that I did something wrong and I have to fix it. And you have a choice. And we start to understand that that suffering brings progress. And you accept that. And if that's true, you start complaining. You don't see suffering in a bad way anymore. It doesn't mean that you have to like to suffer. That's not the teachings. The teaching is you have to face the suffering, being brave, accepting the suffering, not complaining. You do the best of your abilities to improve yourself. And Kardec here make an analogy to explain to us in a simplest way. As workers accept the work, they will ensure their wages. Simple like that. So this we can relate. So not we I don't know you, but I like my work. But I don't like all the time. There's things that I don't like it, but I know that's important and needs to be done. And I don't complain because it's part of it. And that's great analogy. Help us to understand the mindset that we should have. And Spiritism really help us because explain the whys, the reasons, and the cause, effects, act, consequences, and that make it very clear. Spiritism also provides us with unshakable faith in the future, and bitter doubt no longer falls upon our souls and our spirits. Why not? Because we don't believe in reincarnation. We know that reincarnation exists. We don't believe that Jesus is our model. We know that Jesus is our model. So we change because believe is something that you can change your mind. But when you know, you know. And against facts, there are no arguments. It enables them to see things from a higher point of view. We start to put ourselves in a more rational way to analyze life and situations. And we try to put ourselves outside. Don't get too emotional, attached to the suffering, the issues, and we try to find the best way to move on. The importance of early vicissitudes now is lost in the vast and splendid horizon that Spiritism contemplates. We start to put more emphasis on materialism to get things, to get more and more and more. And we start to understand that this is just a life that I just need to have enough. And I have to do the best I can to value what's really important. The perspective of happiness that await us give us the patience, resignation, and courage needed to follow our path to the end. So this is so important because you never lose your faith. You never lose your understanding. A quick example why I despite I feel sad, I feel very sad sometimes, why I don't decide to take my life. Because I know if I do that, the consequences will be complicated. I just making worse because my life is not gonna end. And on the other side, I have to face my own conscience. However, I still have a hope because nobody's left behind, as Jesus promised. Even those that died by suicide, they will have a new chance. Everyone is going to have a new chance. There is no such a thing for Spiritism as eternal punishment, eternal suffering. So this is really go even against a love in someone that's very just as God. Spiritism really accomplishes what Jesus said about the promised consoler. And why? Because bringing the knowledge of things that enables humans to know. So knowledge is quite important. So there was a time in humanity that we have only faith drive everything. And then comes science, and science start to disprove many of the previous beliefs. And wasn't because the belief is not correct, it's just because do not understand that. And then we become this fight against religion science, where each one of those has different paths. And the question becomes, is that true? Because our science is materialistic by nature. And our faith don't consider reasoning. And that's where the clash continues. So, what's the problem? When you have this two, it's just making us far and far away from the truth and far, far away from understanding each other. That's why we need something that brings those concepts together. What knowledge does Spiritism bring to us? Where it come from? So we know that our real world is the spiritual world, where we are going to. So we know when we discarnate or we die, depends what word you would use. So we're gonna back to our home. That's the spiritual life. So why are in our earth? So we explain that. So we have a tasks here to do. So maybe we are in mission. Maybe you are just here to expiate and fix our mistakes from the past. So we understand why we suffer. Furthermore, we understand about death, what that means. What's life after death is all about. We understand the reunion with my loved ones after corporeal life ceased. We understand the concept of reincarnation and new opportunities. We understand the meaning of life. And that's what this Spiritism brought us, is really open our eyes and change forever the way that we see our lives, the life of others, even the entire humankind, and even the entire universe. Because now we understand that everything that we do affect everything, including the entire universe. Spiritism is the call to the true principles of God's law and consolation through faith, hope, and love. Spiritism is the one, and we thank Kardec for his codification, that could bring all this element back together, that was all separated, where we can talk about religion, philosophy, and science all together as part of the entire context of humanity. Then we can progress, we can improve ourselves. Spiritism teaches our responsibility. And at the end of the day, you'll be about ourselves with our own conscience, because we have the seed on us, the seed of goodness, the seed of God, and the light of our Master Jesus. Thank you very much for listening to me and for the reflection, and I'm open for questions if you have any in the chat. Hello, Larissa. A microphone.
Sorry, it was on mute. So let's see if we have any questions. Yes, we have a couple of questions. So thank you so much for your presentation. It was amazing, the reflection on the topic. So let's see the first one. So it's from Rodrigo Gomez. And good evening. How can we interpret the promised counselor as a change in our evolution level? And in which way can we improve as individuals and get closer to this counselor today?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that the promised consoler is knowledge.
Mhm.
So as more we know, and knowledge needs to become action. So the knowledge help us to reasoning and understand our actions and understand the consequences of our actions. And because you have the understanding, so this is going to improve your moral values. And with that, you're going to evolve and progress. So in that way, you're going to find peace of mind and you find comfort on the words of Jesus, because then you completely understood what this is all about. So, how can we improve as individuals to get closer to this consoler today? That is a simple answer and hard to do. We have to improve ourselves.
Yeah.
So
a lot of work, right?
Yeah, yeah, because we spend too much time looking what the others need to do and forgot about ourselves. But basically, you have to be the change that you want to see in the world. So Spiritism invite us for this responsibility. You cannot blame others. At the end of the day, it's between you and yourself.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely a whole life work, right? Like eternally, we will be always evolving.
And that's beautiful.
Yes.
If you think about it, never cease, never end. Can you imagine how boring you'll be? So one life, you get everything, the highest level, then what you do? Rest for eternity? Don't do anything? So if that makes sense,
yeah.
It seems like, to me, it's kind of, wow, seriously, resting for eternity is kind of complicated to think that way.
Yeah, and like you said in your presentation, that's what makes our understanding from God's justice, right? Is that like we don't need to achieve everything in just one life, which is like for some people, depending on the condition that they come in this incarnation, they will not be able to evolve a lot, right? So it's always good to have this like you said, unshakable faith in the future, knowing that we are here to work hard on ourselves, but then we can always expect like more opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have just another one, Rodrigo. So it's from Publio. Based in your words, Spiritism didn't come to finish or destroy other religions, came to enlighten the humankind independent of what you believe. It was a
Well,
comment, actually.
yeah, so well, basically not my words because I'm nobody. So don't listen to me, please. So you have to listen to Jesus. You have to listen to the high spirits, and it's right. So Jesus said, I didn't come to destroy the law, I come to fulfill every single dot. So, and that's is all about. So the
Mhm,
essence of a religion is quite profound because all their beliefs, the belief system in the planet leads to a higher energy, a higher, whatever different beliefs. So God or whatever you want to name the entity, the high spirit, the energy, whatever you call. So the end is always good. End is bring you to close to the Creator.
mhm,
So it make you this feeling, and the humanity has since we exist as humans, we have that feeling that drive us to that.
mhm.
This is the essence. So that's what the Jesus moral teachings. However, we manipulate those teachings. And that's what is start to have this distortion about the teachings. And then when we start to think that my religion is better than yours, I know more than you, and then when we lose the essence of the teachings.
Mhm.
I totally agree. So Spiritism doesn't have proselytism, so anyone can be a Spiritist independently of the other belief system. So what we have to do is following Jesus' teaching. Love God above all and your neighbors as yourself. And then life will be easier.
Yeah, that's perfect. And the thing is, if the religion that you follow is making you progress, right, making you evolve, making you following those two basic statements and teachings from Jesus that he just like summarized in just two sentences, right? So if your religion it's leading you to this path, it's probably the best one, right? So that's the beauty of spiritism as well. We believe that, like you said, the end goal is always going closer to the creator and evolving and doing good, right?
Yeah, if you think about if God allows everyone to have free will in making their choice, who are we to tell people what to do and what to believe?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're in that position. So,
Mm-hmm.
our position, if you really want to help, is bring counsel and comfort to those in pain.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to fight for to prove that I know more than you or this is doesn't belong to the Jesus teachings and not even a moral.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing that, it's basically you didn't get yet, unfortunately, and you need to reflect. So if we try to do this as spiritists, we are wrong. I'm sorry to say, but we are not understanding the love
Yeah.
because you love above all.
Mm-hmm.
So if they choose a different path than you, let them
Mm-hmm.
be. So because you don't know at the end, so you don't. Do you understand the plan? Do you know the plan?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't. So why we want to interfere? So what we have to do is improve ourselves because then if we do that, then maybe people look at us and say, you know, I want to follow those things because all people that I know, they are good people.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's a good end of our talk. Thank you so much again for this presentation and these reflections. And I hope everyone that is watching now is already making those reflections, right? So now, and thank you all for the participating in this chat as well. So now we will move on to the preparation for tonight's spiritual treatment. PASS is the transfusion of spiritual energy with the goal to assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. Passes will help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with healthy and positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from passes, please follow the audio instructions or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help the mentalization. During the pass, the water you set aside will also absorb the spiritual energy that your family and you can benefit from. And now we will make a prayer in preparation for the pass, which will be our closing prayer as well. So I invite everyone to join me again in prayer. Let's close our eyes once again and mentalize our Master Jesus and the friendly spirits that are here with us tonight. Master Jesus, we would like to thank you for one more night that we could learn a little bit more about your teachings in the Spiritism view. And we would like also to thank you for all the benefits that we will have with the spiritual treatment that is going to begin soon, and that all the benefits from the magnetized water that our family and us will be able to benefit from as well. We ask for your protection for this week that we still have ahead, and that this message that was explained and reflect with us today by our friend Rodrigo, may everyone can reflect on that and put in practice in our daily lives so we can evolve every day, turning better people and making good example for the people that are around us. We trust, as always, that you will be with us today, tomorrow, and always. So be it.
Let us now prepare ourselves for the moment of the passes and the magnetization of water. Let's now calm our hearts, breathing in and out. Pay attention to your body. Focus on your breath and let yourself be carried by this energy. Let your thoughts pass by without judging them. Let them flow. Allow this light to be the beacon that guides you, and allow these words to penetrate your energy. Make each word an anchor of gratitude, faith, and trust. With the purpose of healing, which takes away my faith, healing every feeling of separation, of pain, let it all dissolve in this moment, leaving only love, gratitude, and trust. We ask God for the presence of our guardian angel and the friendly spirits who welcome us into this enlightened environment of our Spiritist Center. We open our plexus of love and forgiveness by mentalizing a light surrounding our hearts. Find a quiet and comfortable place to begin the mentalization process. Remove all worries from your thoughts. We ask that during the pass you breathe slowly and deeply. Let your body relax and surrender yourself to a deep meditation. Calmly imagine divine energies in soft and colorful light surrounding you in an environment of peace and spiritual warmth. Entrusting God with your most intimate desires, raise your thoughts to Jesus and the emissaries of the spiritual environment. The pass begins with the cleansing of your soul. Imagine a waterfall of crystal clear water pouring over us, removing all the feelings that keep you away from faith and trust. Feel the energy of this water bathing you and deeply breathe in, feeling peace and harmony. Allow this water to wash away all the impurities and spiritual larvae, washing away all the sorrows and resentments, any feelings of hatred and revenge that hold us back and cause us harm, not only from this life, but past ones as well. Now visualize spiritual doctors around you, applying magnetic cleansing passes, sanitizing your spiritual body of all sadness and negative energy. Mentalize these negative thoughts and feelings being washed away, evaporating from your soul, like water evaporating into thin air, and being carried far away from your mind. Surround yourself with the faith that bathes your being, bringing clarity and lucidity, rebalancing every cell in your body. May the water envelop all pain and bring the clarity of opportunity that chooses peace. The answer arises in our hearts, freeing us from all evil and freeing all whom we have caused evil into and who have caused us evil, washing away all the connections that bind us. Even though we may not understand, we are freeing ourselves from all that causes us harm. Feel this cleansing penetrate your soul and release. Now that we are spiritually cleansed, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of love from the hands of Jesus. At this moment, sing words of faith and gratitude, being faithful to the light that exists in me, planted by the zealous Father. Imagine the sunlight that surrounds and enraptures, freeing us from the chains of everything that holds us down, strengthening your faith. Allow yourself to trust in this light, surrender to it, involved in pleasant feelings and feeling relieved to receive the strengthening lights. Mentalize your spiritual mentors now applying divine light for the strengthening of your mind and your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally revitalized. Let us now mentalize the magnetization of this water. May we mentalize all the friendly spirits, magnetizing this water and filling it with everything that our bodies, minds, and soul need, so that it may be of help to us when we drink it after the pass. Thank you, God.
Thank you all for joining us in our public meeting tonight. We will be back next Tuesday here on Spiritism Canada and Continental Calcafras Americas at 8:30 p.m. East, and next Wednesday on Kardec Radio at 8 p.m. East. Have a good night.
Someone told me long ago that life is just a long road. Sorry, mate, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build that bridge over troubled waters, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more, no more sorrows, no more bad days, no more don't grow. Sorry, babe, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled water, try. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling in the eyes. Tears no more. No more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling in the eyes. Tears no more, no more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. Let the sun walk on away, shine, shine. Let the sun walk